Sorry about the delay in the Road to Nowhere updates. Had a phone issue, had to get one reissued, that type of thing, so a little technical difficulty. What you're seeing here is the daily take of squash. I'm getting this about every day. At the top of the screen are squash that we are saying are too big. Now, in the grocery store, that's what you'd buy, or maybe a little smaller than that. And if it were a survival issue, I'd probably be letting them get that big. The ones at the bottom are very much younger, much tender, much more tender. It's what we like to put up just for our own use. And since we have there's a lot of squash, we're able to pick them when they're still this young and get all that we need, and they're just delicious at that size. You don't get that in the grocery store, so they're just much more tender, less seeds, less rind, that type of thing. So that's what we do there. The pickles, these are good for pickling. The ones at the top are good for, you can put them on salad or whatever. They're a little large. The ones on the bottom are smaller, better for pickling and putting in pickle jars. You can see for scale, there's just a spray nozzle that I use. What I do is I field wash them here. I get all the blooms, all the sand and grit and dirt off of them before I take them into the kitchen because it's just a lot cleaner, and that goes ahead and cools them down so that they don't go through a heat and that kind of thing. I'll be putting these back in the bucket and taking them in just as soon as I get through with this video. I don't know if you can see those very well, but those are purple hull peas. Not really enough to do much, probably maybe make a meal for a couple of people out of that much. Basically, when they start coming in full blast, I'll get a 5-gallon bucket at a time. That'll make about 2 quarts or more of finished product, and that's very acceptable. Love purple hull peas, so I plant a good many of those, and they're starting to come in. Here's the rain has really turned it into a garden here. As you can see, I cut the fields yesterday, the grass, mowed the lawn basically, and it just defines everything. Really makes the place look good. Lot more fun to work here when it's in this kind of shape, and it's just rain. We've had some really good rains over the last week, and last week, probably get some more this weekend. You can see this brown top millet jumped up out of the ground. I really hadn't planned to do that, but hey, if it's given, I'll take it. So going to leave that. As you can see, the garden is just going gangbusters. A lot of blooms. I'm having to start putting on some pesticides. Now I'm using mineral oil, this organic natural mineral oil pesticide. You have to put that on there or the bees or the insects will sting the fruit or the vegetable and really make a mess of it. So I just put some of that. Now I do have a good bit of brown top millet in these rows. As you can see, I pulled up a lot of this stuff and got it out of there. And probably just go through with the weed eater and take the rest of it down to the ground. It doesn't really hurt the crop as long as it doesn't impede me harvesting the crop. You can see the squash in the distance, and the cantaloupe, watermelon, okra's coming up. Got a lot of stuff coming up down there. The sorghum has outgrown its weed neighbors. Really got away from it. I just couldn't, prioritize. They'll make the crop. These stalks will get 10, 12 feet tall by harvest, and they have good diameter to them. I will get in there with the weed eater and take down some of this stuff that's in between the plants and get it cleaned up some, in the next week or so. But I really had to concentrate on the vegetable garden and the tiny house, getting it ready to move in. And as you can see, when we get the place all cleaned up, it's impressive. I really love just to come out here and look at the vista of the place. And as you can see, as you pan around, it just what can you say? It's a road to nowhere. And when you get here, buddy, you're somewhere. There's no question about that. It's just a beautiful place and very peaceful. It's Friday morning. It's about 10 o'clock. It's getting hot, but it's not oppressively hot. And you know, if I shut up, you can probably let me just be quiet for a second. I have to say, what's not to love about that? What's not to love about that? I know that urban living, and I did it for 30 years, and it was great. And but you reach a certain age, and I guess it's just this is where it is. This is what it is. And I'm looking at this, and I see this tiny house, and I can see 5 or 6 more tiny houses here, and a community growing the vegetables and getting involved in you know the arts and music and I don't know. Maybe I'm just a leftover burned out hippie. I can't figure it out, but it just speaks to me here. So anyway, this is a great Friday, and things are really starting to come together. The crops are starting to come in. The hard work paying off. And we ate yesterday for lunch fried squash, tomatoes, cucumbers, cornbread, some potatoes. You know, cucumber, squash, and tomatoes from the garden. Today we'll have peas in that as well. It just doesn't get any better than that. I don't know what I don't know what could be better than that. So, and it's sustainable. It's immediate. It's it's here. It's the road to nowhere. So I hope that y'all can have as much fun and as much contentment and peace of mind as I feel in this moment. We'll see y'all later. Bye now.